Um, and our next speaker is Vivek Patil. So, Vivek, are you on the chat or on the call?
Yep, I am there on the call.
All right. Hey, so welcoming Vivek. Vivek is a pre-sales and techno-functional SME focusing on the Dynamics 365 field for about 12 years now. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. And he's also community lead for the 365 champs from India. I'll just hand over to you, Vivek. So
All right.
you might want
Thank
to
you.
share your screen and go ahead.
Yep, I'll just quickly go and share my screen. So, good evening, Indian folks. Morning for other territories, or it might be late evening to other people. Uh, Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can,
Um,
Vivek.
yeah, I think we can.
Okay, great. So, guys, today's session for Power Apps. My session with this with Power Apps overview with Power Apps licensing. Since morning, you must be hearing about Power Apps a lot, but what that Power Apps is, and there are certain licensing behind it. There were few more questions on the licensing as well, which will be you might get some answers to it as well. So today's agenda for me is what is Power Apps, what is CDS in actual, why CDS is there, and what it means to us. Then we'll get into licensing, and then will give some bit of look about Canvas apps, model driven apps, and other things like environments and securities and all of the things onto the app side. So what we have about Power Apps, how it came into this one. So Power Apps, it is not a kind of any single app or anything, but it's kind of a service, or it is suits of different apps, be it your different connectors, or it has a flow, or it has Power Apps, Power Portals, and Power Automate. So making all these apps together, we call it the Power Apps as the platform. And by using this why we use the Power Apps, because it gives you a rich business logic. It has workflow capabilities to transform your business and all the things. So it's not only the app which you have to build and you have to write each and every code of piece of code onto your app. So behind this there are so many other automated things which are given to you. Power Apps also provides extensible platform to let developers programmatically interact with the data. Now that data could be within the CDS or outside the CDS, or they even can go and create their own custom connectors to integrate data with the external applications, be it SAP or anything, or even if you have any of your internal applications based on .NET or any other things, that also we can do through connectors or gateways that can be defined. Now there are type of apps in Power App. There are actually four, but we will consider them the three majorly. CDS comes as a fourth, but we don't consider as an app, but that is a kind of backend which we say. So we have Canvas apps, model-driven apps, and the portal. Now, why Canvas app came into a picture? Earlier, most of you might have worked with Dynamics 365, and you all must be knowing about model-driven apps, which came almost few years back when the mobile was introduced. So Canvas app, that was the need that okay, model-driven apps, they were always hitting to the database which was based out of Dynamics, but there was always something which we wanted to get out of certain other applications, either integrated with Dynamics or any kind of things. So that's where this Canvas apps comes up. So Canvas apps, you can start building from a complete blank, or there are certain of the templates which Power Apps provides you. You can use them as a base and you can start extending them. Now to connect with these apps, there are 200 plus, actually 250 plus connectors available on the app source, and you can use them. If they are not suitable to your needs, you can always go and create your own connector using gateways or anything, as I already said. These apps, they are compatible to use with any of the formats, be it web, mobile, or a tablet. So you can build your app which can be specifically for a web, specifically for mobile, or specifically for tablet. And as you saw just into Power Apps, Power Portals, you can visualize, you can give any kind of looks and feels, whatever you want to give it to your apps, that all automations can be given by programming into Canvas apps. But the other app, which is the model driven app, which basically use the CDS as a backend, it has its own capabilities in terms of designing UI and automations. So what it does, it uses the CDS as the backend. I'll explain the CDS, what CDS means, and from where it come up, the idea of CDS come up. So it used the CDS and their models, so which is again called as a CDM, is a common data model. That is a combination of these two, and that from based on that you can generate your apps. You can also have data from your other applications that could be using data, that could be using Flow or any other Power Automated things, and that data can be added to your CDS, and that you can see into your model-driven apps as well. Now, in terms of UI, it's pretty easy. It's no code, low code when it comes. It's a model-driven apps. It's really very little code which you might have to write. There it needs very little technical knowledge, and if you start working on one or two apps, you might get some good expertise on the model-driven apps. So that's where that model-driven apps are helpful. Now, the other good part about model-driven apps, the model-driven apps can consume or can use the some of your Canvas apps as well, like certain features which are not available by default with Dynamics, Canvas apps, or even with the Dynamics apps. So you can embed that Canvas apps into your model-driven app and use that features. Like by default, when we had a quick view form into Dynamics 365, we were not able to edit that particular form. But now what you can do, you can create one Canvas app. You can have that editable form on the Canvas app. You can embed that into your any other form, and you can actually go and edit the information, and it gets directly saved to your account form. So that way you can always use these Canvas apps into model-driven apps as well. Now portal, I think Ritika has explained much about the portal, but yeah, portals are actually external facing websites that can be exposed to your customers or to the partners or to the employees or to any of the attendees or viewers you want to share it with. Now with the portal apps, okay, about the signing, for all these things like Canvas apps and model-driven apps, you need a license or you need a kind of authentication to be done through either Office 365 or Azure AD. But in portal, you have that option that you can have multiple ways of signing in. That could be a Google or Facebook or LinkedIn. So that kind of signing options that are available. Or else you can always use the Azure AD as the sign-in option for your Power Portal, right? Then coming to, okay, my screen is stuck. Just a moment. Okay. Now, what is the major differences between the Canvas apps and model-driven apps? Now, when you're working on a Canvas apps, it's focused on a specific user interface. Like if there is something in your mind, I want to design my app in certain way, which placing certain fields here and there with their dimensions and all other things. So it's all about Canvas apps that you can do, but that cannot be done with the model-driven app. It majorly focuses on your data and your modeling, because there are limitations when you go and design the UI for model-driven apps. Now, at both the places, you have drop-down components onto Canvas apps as well as onto your model-driven apps. But when it comes to Canvas apps, you drag and drop or you add any of the components, it requires a quite of good few uh, uh, efforts to match to the expectations what you are looking for. But in Dynamics, it actually, you can say drag and drop where you want to place, and it actually fits to your this one layout. The major difference between this is Canvas apps, they are not responsive by design. So if you are looking at a specific format or to either a bar or if it is a tablet, you have to design it separately. But that's not the case with your model driven apps. They are responsive by design. Either you use them on as a mobile device, you use them on a laptop or on a tablet. Their design gates automatically set as per your dimensions. Now, Canvas app, when we say why we introduce the Canvas app, is the reason is if there are a smaller set of requirements, like only 2 or 3 operations a user has to perform, rather having a list of entities into his app, but he has to do only few operations, like he has to do some time entry, or he has to do some expense entry, or he has to just go and approve the things, or he has to go and see the records or the service request kind of things. So for that kind of specific requirements, we can always go and configure or design the Canvas apps. But in the other way, model driven apps, they are focused on the process, and if any actually they are define, if there is any business process or a start to end process you want to run on the records, so that's where you use the model driven apps, and that's best suited over there. Now, there are default list of templates available for Canvas app, but they are very less in number. But in other way, for model driven app, there are too many of the templates available, and they are increasing day by day. You can use that model driven templates and use into your uh, uh, as plug and play as you use. Now, the other thing which I said, when you start developing or designing Canvas apps, it requires more of a technical knowledge or coding or any kind of uh, programming knowledge, and the kind of uh, there is a complete different way of scripting into Canvas app. It's not a JavaScript, it's not anything TypeScript kind of thing, but it's a complete different scripting which needs to be done. Because of that, certain of the business rules, they are not applicable directly to the Canvas apps. Okay, the way, and in model driven app, as it having a base of a CDS, it has a kind of base of dynamics. We can have that business rules and uh, their kind of scripts enabled on that particular apps, and they can be used for doing any kind of validations, like hiding the fields or showing the fields, or masking or anything. Like if you want to make them even as a secured field, that can be done through your model apps, but that is not a capability of Canvas apps. You have to completely write down the things. The another major difference which is not listed here is the data visibility and security. When it comes to model driven apps, it's quite easy into model driven apps that you can secure your data visibility to most of the users by using the default security roles which are available into your dynamics, into your CDS as a solution. But if that is the case in Canvas app and you want to restrict your users, you have to first work on 2-3 layers. One is the data connection, where it is coming from. Either you can retrieve it at the other side of the application, that like it is a SharePoint, you can maintain that security onto the list or the website. If it is any other application, you have to maintain either on that side, or you have to write down the complete code to filter out the data and to show or make it visible onto the other users. So these are the major differences between the Canvas apps and model driven apps. Now, CDS. Why this CDS came into picture, as I said. So Microsoft is actually working onto most of the business applications like ERPs, CRM, and multiple ERPs. They also got into the portals and all other things. Now the idea of CDS came from all these applications. Like we want to go and have a functionality where all the functionalities or kind of components of all these applications, different applications, or not even applications, but verticals or business ideas, that can be brought into one place, and that can be used for developing other solutions out of it. So that's where the idea of CDS came to. Like certain people have created like there are, say, business needs for manufacturing, then delivery, and then a kind of invoicing. But what happens, certain times these people, they used to use the same uh, data at some point of time. Now, for that, there were 3 different applications. What Microsoft has done, they have modeled their data, they have bring all the common things and the extra things as well into CDS. so that any developer who want to use that as a base, they can use that as a CDS, common data service. Now, what is common data service? Common data service is it stores your data on a securely and managed locations, and that can be used by your business applications. So it's completely secured with your ways, and that can be used. Common data service includes a base set of standard entities and typical scenarios, like I said, like there were some scenarios like manufacturing, then delivery, and all the things. So that Microsoft brought all together into one place. So all that information required to be entered or to be faced by multiple people, that can be placed at one place, and you can design your apps on the same platform. The app makers can use the Power Apps to build rich applications using this data. That's where it comes for the Power Apps. Okay, now when it comes to building these applications and we need to write some certain logics, so Power Apps gives you all that features and functionalities that you can write your logic onto your mobile apps, these Power Apps, using any of these situations. If you want to integrate with any other things, you can always go and use the flows and all like Power Automate and all of the things for that. Okay, now there is another good feature. As I said, there is a role-based security. You can define the different roles for different users. You can have a separate apps for different set of users, like for managers, for data entry operators, for the management. They can have separate roles assigned to them, and based on their role, it shows you your data, and uh, it can be kept access secured from accessing from the other users. And this is how the structure of CDS is. So here it shows your Power Apps and the data which is coming, or the modeling that has been done, that is done through Dynamics Step Operations or customer engagement, Azure AD, Office 365 apps, or any other apps which Microsoft already defined, designed, or any other partners. Certain partners have also helped out Microsoft to building on this CDS or the modeling of this particular data, and based on that you can go and create your apps on top of all of these things. Now the Power App licensing is another thing over here. Now how we can go and get the Power Apps? There are different ways through which you can have your Power App licenses with you. One, the basic thing is the seeded Power Apps. Now what is seeded Power Apps? So when you go and buy off any of the licenses from Microsoft, it has certain features, it has certain SKUs, and it has certain of the capabilities that gives to you. Like if you go for Office 365, there are certain of the SKUs which gives you the Power Apps as a base license, which is equivalent to your P1 plan or P2 plan. Or there is also option, if you go for Dynamics 365 as an subscription, you also get the Power App subscriptions. Now that is not available with all the versions of Dynamics 365 or Office 365. That is specifically with certain versions only. And if that is not the case, you are not using Dynamics 365 at all, till you can go and use the Power Apps. So you have two plans for that. Plans are called as the P1 and P2, which is Power Apps per app plan, which is cost at the $10 per user per app license and per month. Okay, and another is your plan 2, which is Power App per user plan, which is $40 per month, per user per month. Now with $10 and with $40, there are different set of restrictions and accessibilities are there. Now the way it is written over here, it can use the single application for a business scenario. So that's what it is with the per app license. So if you think that particular user might be requiring two different business scenarios, so you have to buy two separate licenses for that. Or if it is going beyond multiple licenses or 4 or 5, we can always go with the Power Apps P2 license, where it has unlimited access to the apps and you can share that apps with them.
Vivek, we have a few questions here.
Yeah, sure.
There's one which asks, can you share some insights on how the common data model is different from the common data service?
Okay, so see, model is it's just a model. The service model is just a kind of modeling of your data. It doesn't contains any of the database with it. So what Microsoft has done, so as I said, they had different models with them. When we say models, mean they had a structures. Like I worked on to real estate industry. I worked on to or if I have to say logistics as an industry, so where we have orders, we have a delivery, then we have any other things. So what they did, they they analyze these complete models all together, and that models are added as a part into your CDS. Okay, so common data models are there. They are just modeling of your data or your structures, but that are part of your CDS only. And then that CDS is used to store your data or to use that models as per your needs. So when you get into CDS, you will find a list of bunch of entities which you might not have really worked upon in any of your applications, but still they are there. How they are coming up? Just because of this CDM, common data model, because that has been added as a predefined structures to you, as the models to you.
Sure. All right. Nagaraju is the one who asked the question. I hope that answers your question. We have another one here that's asked, is Power Apps Portal's license covered with the Power Apps user plan that you shared?
I have a separate slides for licensing onto Power Platform, Power Portal as well. But yes, see, Power Portal licenses you get with the environments, with the subscriptions. Okay, if you want a separate Power App portals, so that's a separate thing. You can always go for that. But Power App portals licenses you get based on your tenant. Okay, so by default, what happens, like which I know very well, is when we go for Dynamics 365 as an enterprise subscription, we by default get a portal as an access, and based on that you can go and design all your Power App portal licenses, sorry, multiple Power App portals. So that way you get that access. But yes, there is Power App portal separate licensing, which I'll come into next slides.
Sure, thank you. There's another one, last one, which asks, does CDS use CDM?
CDS use CDM. Yes, CDS use CDM only. Yes, see, it's a model and it's a service. Okay, so that's where it use the CDM only. Or I think I'm actually, how should I explain that? I'm not getting that.
Just
Um,
Vivek, I'll just take that one if it's okay for you.
yep, sure.
So consider CDS as your data store, right? CDS is the underneath platform or the data store where you're storing stuff, right? And CDM is the kind of data model you make on top. So there are some standard models which are provided. There are certain accelerators which Microsoft is continuously building and sharing. So whenever you share a accelerator, you share a CDM of that accelerator. What do I mean by that? So let's take example of fund house management where Microsoft has built an accelerator. If you use Power Apps, you are free to consume that CDM, which is there as part of that accelerator, along with the customizations of forms, processes, etc. Customize on top of that, and then utilize it for your business needs, specific scenario. Coming to a follow-up question that I also see around, can you customize it? Definitely, that's the case, right? So
Yeah.
traditionally, what we used to call with XRM framework, right? If you have been with Dynamics for as long as 5 to 10 years, we are clearly aware of the term XRM framework. So what was XRM framework? We couldn't achieve every use case with just using XRM set of entities, custom entities. We would use standard, we would repackage them as required. So the standard set of models that we never created are now possible and are available to us as CDM. CDS acts as our data store, right? That's what CDS is. Having said that, there are other connections you can make. Like we were discussing certain examples when Prashant was presenting in the afternoon around can we do it with SharePoint? Can I put it integrated with other things? That all also can be integrated. But as far as it comes to your CDS storage, it is CDM, and you can customize it, you can extend it. However, based on certain licensing, there are limitations which I will leave to Vivek. It is not my area of expertise either. But there are certain entities which we term restricted. I hope, Vivek, there is something about
Yeah,
that as well, right?
yeah.
So I hope that that is clear. And sorry to take your question, Vivek, but I just
No, that's
wanted to
fine. That's fine.
simplify.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. So anything else, Yash, there?
Yes, I think we are good now.
Okay, good. Okay, so this is how you can get your Power Apps licenses. Okay. So this is the Power App per app plan, which is also called as a plan one. What we get with this one? So earlier, almost 6 months down the line, it was only one app which was accessible using plan one, but that has been now moved that you can have both Canvas apps and model driven apps, and you can have two apps with one license as a P1. So either you use the Canvas app or use the model app, or a combination of both that you can use. Also with P1 you get a custom portal access, means that user can go and use the portal with P1 plan, which was earlier not the part. It was only about the apps, but now which Microsoft has added as a you can access the portals as well. Now what kind of connectors are available? So there are standard connectors, premium connectors, there are on-premise gateways, custom connectors, that all are accessible now. There is star to it, which is not also marked over here. There were earlier certain standard customers. Microsoft has moved them into premium category, and there are some limitations with that connectors as well when you go and access that particular data with the Power Apps plan. Okay, so that kind of premium connectors you get access to. Now you can store, you can use the CDS for Power App plan 1, or if you have any other data sources that, as I mentioned, into connectors that you can use. You can create custom entities and include some complex entities to your app. That is also permissible over here. Now, as Dipesh said, there are some restricted entities which are not available. So there is a whole list of entities which are restricted. Some of them are kind of billing and project management related. There are certain entities which are related to field service, resource management, all of the things. So that kind of entities are there, which are called as restricted entities, where they are not permissible to accessed or not actually accessed. It's editable on the Canvas apps, but you can actually go and read them if, and append to kind of options you can use with them, right? So that entities are available with you. Now, using Power Apps, if you're using the uh, like here, workflow is another thing. Like you can use the flows with using Power Apps with the context of that particular apps only. You can use Power Automate with the same environment. You cannot have from other environments Power App automated to be added to your this one. So that context to be same within your environment. So all these things which when they are coming up, they are coming up specific for one environment. Now one user, I want to be specific here. One user, when it comes to a Power App for a plan one, it should be accessible to only one environment. It cannot have access to two different environments apps. So if there is a scenario where you want to have you have different environments for different type of businesses, and one user is going to use two apps from two different environments, no, that is not supported with the Power Apps plan. So in that case you have to buy another license, and that is very much possible that you can add that another Power App license to that particular user for that particular environment. That's the only thing which you might not find somewhere written, but that's one thing is over there. You cannot access two apps from the two different environments. Okay, now classic common data service, non-real-time and real-time workflows, they are permissible. There is major change into your per app license capacity in terms of database. Database capacity earlier, which was I think 40 MB, that is increased to 50 MB. Now this is with per user, it's not the complete environments. Now this accumulates to your complete environments. This one, like if you have 100 users, so this will become 50 into 100, I think 5 GB or whatever it becomes. So that will be a space for a whole organization. Now that gets divided into your users. Now file capacity, that was earlier I think 200 MB or something like that, that has been increased to 400 MB. Daily API request, now these APIs okay, these API requests, they are 1000. Now what happens with this API request? So any operations you do by any means through flow or through request call, REST API call, or any other APIs, there are permissible of 1000 APIs only in a day's time, in a 24-hour. Okay, and AI builder capacity, that is added on a extra cost based on whatever is the cost which is applicable for that particular AI builder. So that's where it comes. So this was Power App Plan 1. Power App Plan 2, it's almost unlimited at every place with the same restriction as a restricted entities which was there into Power App Plan 1, and that same restriction is with the Power App Plan 2. The same restriction with even if you go and use the Dynamics 365 Power Apps licenses, that same restriction stays there as well. So you here the only thing, you have unlimited access to the portals. The number of portals you have, you can use all that number of portals. You can use all the number of apps which are shared with you or you have access to. There is no limit to that. Even in here, if there is about multiple environments that you can go and use with. The other differences are the database capacity. It increases from 50 MB to 250 MB for the database, and file capacity increases to 2 GB. All these are attachments. And daily API request increased to 5000, and which is there into 1000 for the P1 plan. Again, AI builder capacity is completely how it works for P1, and it is chargeable as in whatever it incurs. Now the third thing comes with the Power Apps use rights with Dynamics 365. As I said, there are certain apps like there are certain SKUs or subscriptions where you get Power Apps as a free with that particular subscriptions, and that are one of these is Dynamics 365. In Dynamics 365 as well, currently Microsoft has done, it has divided into two categories: professional licenses and enterprise licenses. With the professional licenses, you don't get these capabilities, the Power Apps. So if that is the case, you can always go and identify which is the best suitable plan for you out of P1 and P2, and you can procure that licenses, and you can use the Canvas apps and model apps with the Dynamics 365 Pro 1. When it comes to Dynamics 365 Enterprise applications where you have the subscription, so you already get the P2 as a license over there, and you can use the apps built on your Dynamics 365. Now that is again you can use that only for that particular environment which you have created. So that is there. You can again use the pre-built connectors, standard, premium, that are available into both of the things. Now there is a one cache here when it comes to Power Apps and model driven, Dynamics 365 Pro license and model driven apps, where model driven app is a base, you can say you get a model driven app as access into your Dynamics 365 Pro license as well, but for that it is a restriction of having a 15 custom entities. If your app is extending your 15 licenses, then you cannot use that one. Okay, now this model driven app, that is completely different than the CDS model driven app. So this model driven app which is there onto Dynamics 365 Pro license is the actual Dynamics 365 model driven app, so in which you will not be having kind of CDS, other CDS entities which we are talking about for CDS. So this actually builds on the top of Dynamics custom entities only. And that's where this 15 custom entities comes per application, and that is not the case with your enterprise licenses. You can do all the CRUD operations on these entities on the 15 plus whatever are default and non-restricted entities. For automate user rights, you get with the context of the app. Again, classic common data service, non-real-time, real-time workflows you can use. as many as you want. And here the other thing is you don't have access to the Power Portals if you have the Dynamics 365 Pro. Sorry, if you have the Dynamics 365 Pro license, but you can use the portal if you have the Dynamics 365 Enterprise license. Now that too depends what kind of portals you have developed into your instances. Like if it is employee portal or partner portal, then that works. If it is a customer portal, anyways, your users will not use that one. So that's what it is there. Now the other place where you get the Power App license is Office 365 subscriptions, and it has very limited access. That it can access only applications which are part of your Office 365, like your Exchange, like Exchange Online or SharePoint or any kind of things. So you can do that, where you get the unlimited of the Canvas apps, but there are no model driven app because there is no CDS by default which comes up with the Office 365. So that's where model driven apps are not accessible over there. You can use the standalone connectors, as I said, but there are very limited which are available for the Office 365 Canvas apps. You don't have access to any custom connectors or anything. Power Automate, you can use there are some Power Automate by default licenses which are always with you that you can use for these apps, and daily API limit is stayed to 2001. Okay, now okay, I think I missed it. Okay, so no, I think that Power App portal license that I have not added over here. I thought it was part of this one. Okay, so but there is a separate guideline for a Power App portal as well, that you can go and have that Power App portals with you, and you can add as and when your need is. So that is there. I'll share that link with you where you can get that details. Right. So this was all about the licensing and what CDS is and all of things. I'll quickly get into the demo. It's not actually building a Power Apps, but I'll just show you what things and what kind of restrictions are there, and what is the major challenges when it comes to Power Apps as in a Canvas, and what are the benefits of having model driven apps. I'll quickly stop sharing this one. I'll share my screen. Let me know when you see the screens. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, great. Okay. Now the best way, if you are trying, if you want to try Power Apps with CDS, the best way is don't go for Dynamics 365 subscription directly. Either you directly go for Power App subscriptions, or the another best way is you got into Office 365 subscription, either E3 or E5, whatever we get as a trial, and from there you can always go and subscribe for any other subscriptions, and from there you select Power Apps P1, or you don't get P1 as a trial license. You have only option of having P2 as a license, and that's where majorly there are some major queries around the P1 licenses, what is accessible and what is not. So what I have done over here, I have only added, if I go into my products and services, I have also added Dynamics 365, but we have designed the apps, they are only onto CDS one. So I have added P2 as a license over here. Now to make your apps, you have an option. There is a complete separate URL for that, which is make.powerapps.com, where you have to go. When you come over here, you will find the environments. You will find the list of environments which are available with you. You can have multiple environments with you based on, provided you have the database capacity with you. Each environment almost takes certain GBs of space, say 1 GB at least. It requires 1 GB of space to create a new environment. If it is not with you, then you'll not be able to create a new environment. It's almost the same as Dynamics 365 environments, creating environments like sandbox or production or trial ones. So it requires 1 GB space. Here is the same. You cannot create multiple environments if you don't have this space. Now, what happens here? It has given you these apps where you can see the list of apps which you have built over here. Okay. Now, from here, you can always go and select under which environment you are into. Each environment can have a separate set of apps with them, and that can be listed over here. Like I am here into default one. Whenever you go for a Power Apps subscription, it always creates a default environment. Now that environment cannot be deleted. You cannot go and disable it. That's the first thing. But you can go add as many environments whenever you think that environment is not required, all your work is done. You can always go and demolish them. You can delete that environment so that you can free up your space, and that's available with the other environments but not with the default environment. Now what we got it here is we can have the list of apps over here. You can see all the data entities and connectors, custom connectors, all the list over here. So this place we can see all the list of connectors, custom connectors which you have either build yourself or you have procured from somewhere, and other connections as well as seen over here. Okay, it's taking time.
While that is loading up, yeah, I just have a question here on the chat that says, does E3 cover does the E3 license cover Power
Apps? I think yes. As per my knowledge, E3 covers Power App, but that is only for Office 365. It will not be used for CDS. But I need to confirm that because it is the Office 351, so I'm skeptical about it. I don't know whether, but as I had read, it has, but it can be worked only with Office 365, like the one which I showed up on about the Office 365 Power Apps. That one.
Yeah,
it doesn't come up with the CDS.
Okay, I believe it covers all the I mean, it does not take the premium connectors into consideration for this one, I guess.
Yes, right.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Okay. Now, here you can see the list of flows you have developed for all your automations and all the things. Now, these are the solutions. There are two ways you can manage your apps. Okay. Either you directly go into apps section and you create your app directly from there, connecting to your CDS and all of the things, or you create your own solution, create your own apps, build all the automations into your solution, and you can use that apps. Now apps which are created into solutions as well as directly created from the outside, both can be seen here into apps only. The reason Microsoft has given this solution part is, in future, if you want to migrate these solutions or these apps from one environment to another environment, a copy of them, you can easily migrate them. You can also migrate the apps from here, but what will happen if that particular customizations or any changes, the data modeling which you have done for your app, that is not already in the other place where you are putting your solutions, it will fail over there. So that's where the best practice is, when you are going and doing any of your app customizations, you always go and do it into your solutions. So here I have created one basic app solution, time into solution, where I have used some of the entities which are available as a default into CDS, and I have created some custom entities as well. So the list of entities, when we say I have created a solution, I'll quickly go and show you, or you might be knowing. Okay, anyways, so you can have all the list of these entities. Wherever you find this CRA 72, that are all the custom entities which I have created for this. Certain are the components like drop down list and apps, so that's where that are coming up. The other entities like account, activity, contact, that all are part of default CDS entities. So what all entities are available with us, you can always go and see into the list. If you go and see into add existing, you'll get a list of all entities. Now most of the entities you might have worked with, but certain entities, as Dipesh said earlier, that are coming through a different models which Microsoft has worked over the years, or some partners has worked over the years, that are coming over here. And that is also based on what licenses you have and what kind of modeling you have done into that particular instances. So you can always go, if you think there is some extra entity which is required for you, you can always go and add that into your solution and use that into your Power Apps. So that's where I have added over here. Whenever, if say any of the model or any of the entity which is a default coming from CDS and is there, but it doesn't have the capabilities or the data fields which you want to add into your data model or into your app that are not there, this is the very well place where you can go and add that particular thing over here. So you don't need any kind of technical expertise to add any of the fields or anything. So you can quickly go and add that fields from here itself, and that's done over there. Okay, I think it's taking a good amount of time. Now what you get as a benefits over here, so you can define all your custom fields which are not part of default solution. If there are any relationships or any business rules you want to define, you can quickly go and add it from here. That is not the case with the Canvas apps. You have to write down that code which needs to be written into events or kind of on select event, on click event, and all of things. But you can use these business rules to apply all your logics, and it is code free. Even if you go, it's just if else kind of things, and you can do that. You can define the list of your data modeling or the views or the forms. You can design it from here. You don't need to worry about how it will get fitted to the window where we are opening it. Whether it is a tablet, whether it is a mobile app, it will work very well. You can quickly go design the dashboards and charts as well. But if you have to do that into Canvas apps, one thing, it's a tough one, or you have to bring that particular area from outside somewhere, like Power BI. You need to embed the Power BI places, Power BI reports into your Canvas apps. So that's how it works. So this is what your entity is. So now how quickly you can go and add a new app over here. Now I can always go and say I want to add a Canvas app, I want to add a model driven app. Now if I add this app, still it will ask me, okay, this will be uh, based into this particular environment, this will be part of this particular solution. But this Canvas app can use the custom connectors as well, or custom data from the outside world as well. It's not that this Canvas app will only use this particular CDS. It can use any other data sources as well. But when it comes to model driven app, you can use only CDS entities. You cannot have the custom entities from outside or the somewhere else. And if it is there, you can use the Canvas app for that. So what I have done, I have added some model driven apps over here. So I can quickly show you how you can edit them. So here you get all your features where you can go and define the what you should be able to see into that particular app. You can define all your sitemap, like your menu bar, how it should look. It should have two different layers, three different layers, and which sections. So we call them as groups and subgroups, and the list of entities that can be, you can define. It's pretty simple. If you want to move it from here to there, it's a drag and drop feature, and that's done. You have to just go save and close, publish this one, and your model app driven, you don't need to really worry about it. Whenever you log in next time and your app gets loaded, it will download all these settings automatically. Here when it comes to uh, data visibility and all of the things, so you can restrict it in 2-3 ways. Either you give them access to only that components where that data can be seen, or you can actually restrict on the field level or to the security level of the app. So here we can go and define which forms shall be seen. There can be multiple forms with multiple set of fields. So you can restrict it at a form level, you can restrict it at a view level as well, and that can be defined here. You can always go validate whether this app has any issues or not. If it is not, you are ready to go with, you can ignore the warnings, and you can actually save and close this one. And okay. Now whenever you are done with this particular app, you can always go and publish this complete solution with all your customizations. Once you are done, you have to just say publish all your components and the changes which you have done into your that particular solution, that will get published. and you can use that app over there. Now, how that app will be accessible to other users? The thing is, not all apps will be accessible to all the users. So that's where you have to go and share that apps to specific users whom you want to share with them, or you can have a security role level access to the apps, so that the persons who have that particular security roles can use that apps. So I can quickly go to apps. So this is my time entry app.
While that is loading up, Vivek just wanted to give you a quick time check.
Yep, I know. I'm in the 10 minutes.
Yeah, we just wanted to have a closing note as well. So
Yep, sure. It will be finished in 10 minutes. Don't worry.
yeah, we have a
Okay.
few questions also once you're done. Thank you.
Yep, sure. So you can quickly go share this app using share functionality from here, and that gets added to the list of apps available for that user. Whenever he logs into his Power Apps, he can see all the list of apps available for his this one. Like by default, as an app, I'm an admin, I had created this app, I have this access, but I can add any of my users to this particular app. Like whoever I have given the licenses, I can use like Herschel, and this gets added to their list of apps, right? So these are the two new users with the Power Apps. And these things, if say there are certain things that needs to be shared with them, like if they are not having the access to certain of the entities or kind of things, it might ask you to check whether you want to share accesses on a read write level. Okay. It's been already shared. I can quickly go and say close this one. So this was my Power App for model driven. I can quickly go and see how it looks into my system. So earlier I had, I think, run this. Okay, no, not here one. So this is running. It you may find that particular UI is same as your Dynamics 365 because we are using CDS, and nowadays even Dynamics 365 uses CDS as a backend. Okay, so that's where the UI and everything is kept as the same as a Dynamics 365 only. So it will load up. So till then, Yash, can we have a question by the time it loads?
Yeah, sure. So we have one here that can a model-driven app and Canvas app be tied to security roles?
Okay. So with Canvas apps, if it is a kind of CDS based, yes, you can do that. But if you are not using CDS as a backend, and rather than you are using SharePoint or Salesforce or any other custom connectors for that, so there are differences because CDS has its own security model with it. You can do that with the Canvas apps, but when it comes to SharePoint or any other apps, so as I earlier said, it totally depends on the other application as well, how the data modeling and things are at the other place. I have worked onto SharePoint apps with the Canvas app. As you know, SharePoint list, once they are created, they are shared with all the members of that particular site which has been which have access, and all the list of records which are under that particular SharePoint list. So in that case, what we need to do is whenever we run that Canvas app, we have to add some filters, like there is only one security access which is there onto SharePoint is created by. So you can always say, okay, if it is created by this particular user, then only show the data. So that kind of security can be applied. But for CDS, yeah, it is available over there, but not for the all other connectors. So yeah, we have to build our own security for that.
All right, got it. There's one more that says, can we install field service module on the default CDS environment?
When you say install, what exactly you mean by install?
This is from Mukesh. So, Mukesh, if you're on the call, I believe the question is like, can we have the field service module on the default environment? I mean, have the model-driven app and the entities installed on the default environment itself.
Okay. Now here the beauty part is Microsoft is not restricting you to not to build your own business processes or applications. Okay, so you are free if you are not using Dynamics as a backend. Okay, you are free and you can develop all that custom entities with here, and you can design all your apps even into portals as well. You have all that features and functionalities you can develop on your own. The only cache comes if you're using Dynamics 365 and on top of that a model driven app, then that is a kind of violation of your licensing. Otherwise, if you are only using CDS, you can use base entities, and as you know, certain restricted entities are part of field service only, so you can customize them, you can use them and add to your model driven apps.
Mhm. And
Hope that is the answer.
yes, yes, it does. Then there's a question on Power Automate, that is, I mean, basically flows created from Canvas app do not appear on the admin.powerplatform.com.
Sorry, come again.
So the question is like flows created from the Canvas app do not appear on the list of flows in the admin.powerplatform.com. So is there any specific reason for that?
Flows created from Canvas apps.
Yes.
Um, they must be seen under all the flows. I don't know whether you had created them or how, but actually I have not worked flows for Canvas apps, so I'll not be in a position. But you might get that list of all the flows under your environment into the base environment if they are not accessible on the particular Canvas app in that particular solution or somewhere.
All right. So we have a couple of questions more over here, but I would also want to give a time check. So
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
wrapping up real
So
quick,
this is how
yeah.
the app looks like, and you can always go and see the data over here. I have not added some data over here, but you can see if I go and uh, just minimize this particular screen, that becomes responsive, and your screen gets adjusted based on that. So these apps, these are well responsive one. I'll quickly jump onto Canvas apps and I'll show you the kind of limitations with the Canvas app. So this one is the uh, app which I created. Okay, this will actually open up. I don't want to open that one. I'll quickly go and edit this one. Okay. So when you go and create the Canvas app, you have option of okay. When you go and create the Canvas app, you have option whether you want to create it for tablet mode or you want to create it for a phone mode. But that is not the case with the model driven app. It fits automatically. So that's where whenever you go and create the Canvas app, you have to define the layout. So there is a duplication of work, that if you are designing one particular application, you have to design it for both the formats. Not it is not like the model driven apps. Okay, so I'll close this one. So also running. By the time it is running, we can take a question in a minute, I think. Yes.
Sure. So there's a question that while migrating a solution from tenant to tenant, how can we configure connections?
Sorry, come again.
While
It was breaking.
migrating, yeah, I was just saying that while migrating a solution from a tenant to another tenant, how can we configure connections?
Okay. So when you go and migrate these solutions from one tenant to another tenant, it always gives you a kind of suggestion, or you can consider it a warning, that if you are migrating this solution from uh, uh, this particular environment to other environment, so either make them part of your existing solution or the apps, or that should be readily available, that particular configuration should already be available with you in that particular environment where you are actually going and importing that solution. So these are the things you need to be very careful when you are migrating the solutions. Yes, when you use the connections, that can be a challenge. You might need to redefine them over there because your URLs or some parts of the connections that may change. Okay, so that's where when I was talking about the solutions, so the best way is always to use the solutions for all your things, so they are into same place and you can migrate them easily.
So just to
Also,
add to
there is a feature when you, yeah. there is another feature to here is when you are exporting or and doing migration, you can always go and check the errors or kind of issues that might arise while importing. So you can have a look at that as well. Yeah, go on, Dipesh.
So just to add, like there's a concept of environment variables and solution in Power Apps, right? So typically what we will do with the configurable configuration kind of entity, if you're expecting a Canva app connection to be almost similar like what we picked from configuration, that's not the case, right? Every time you change something, you need to reconfigure the stuff. But if you're considering something like, okay, you have a API URL which you want to refer, and that should be different in a development against prod and UAT and so forth, go and look for environment variables. That's a new kind of component within solutions which you should be utilizing. That's all,
Yes.
Vivek.
Yep. So I think it's taking time. Do we have any more question?
Can we publish Power Apps to App Source Marketplace? I think this would be the last one considering the time check now.
Yes, you can always go and do that to the app stores. Most of the partners in the world, what they are doing, they are making these kind of apps and they are publishing onto Power Apps. App stores as a their apps, their kind of what we say, uh, their proposals to customers. Like these are the apps with these particular functionalities we have with you. You can go with the trial or whatever cost. So most of the partners are doing that in a way right now. They are defining certain features, functionalities. They are putting it on app stores with certain price, and that can be sold from there itself. So yes, that is possible. The only thing, when you go and publish certain apps, so it goes through a rigorous check by Microsoft. It is not that easy that you will just pick the solution and publish over to Microsoft app stores. It should get through some approvals and as well as some checks by Microsoft teams who publishes it onto app stores. The other thing I think there is, you should be having a specific level of partnership with Microsoft for that particular app publishing. I'm not sure, but I think that is the case somewhere. Okay, I think it's not loading. I don't know why. Let's give a last try for a minute. Anything else? Yes, there.
Um, nope, I think we're good.
Actually, I wanted to show the difference. Okay, because of time and the bandwidth
I think if
issue.
you had an end note, maybe we can share it in the slide or deck somewhere so that people can
Okay,
refer back to it.
right. Now the okay, what what I suggest over here, or what generally the ways are going like now, the traditional days playing around with dynamics, they are getting over because of these power apps, and even Microsoft is supporting these power apps so well and pushing it hard that it's better rather focusing on the different business applications and business processes, longer business processes. If we go and create with the smaller apps, that will be useful. You can always go define these apps. You can publish the app source to show your capabilities, or you can design these apps and showcase to your partners for their any of their processes, and that might be another good opportunity for you to selling your skills and services to the customer. Okay, now it has loaded now. So if you look at this one, the complete UI is completely different than the one which we saw into this one. Like this one is my mobile app, mobile this one. So here I have to manually go and add the buttons or any screens which I have to add. I have to do it manually, like this list and everything. For each and every place, I have to write some code somewhere here, like on select what should happen, what should not happen. But that is not the case with your model driven apps. It's completely designed, well designed. You don't need to worry about whether save gets saved or not, save and close gets saved or not. goes to back or not. Even if you have written somewhere onto a list, if you want to click on a back, you have to write down the code. Okay, it should go a back. If you want to add a new form over here, like here, you have to go add the new form, you have to define the connection, then you have to do a lot more onto it to show the data where you clicked. So there is a lot more to be done on this. The other bad part which I really didn't like about Canvas apps is when you want to design it, it's not that easy. Okay, so here you will see, here are their positions, there are some weights and all these things you need to be very careful. The moment your size of your device changes, all these can become cluttery or a kind of a totally different than what others are seeing. So that are the challenges with uh, Canvas apps. So your design cannot be uniform across all the devices, all the platforms. So that's how it is. Now time is not permitting, otherwise I could have shown like what can be written as a part of scripts and other things.
Yeah.
So I submit over here. So if any more queries, so I'm there to answer.
Vivek, it will be great if you can share your slide for connecting with you. People will have queries, so
Yep,
they can use those mediums to
yep.
connect with
So
you as well.
I'll share my the last slide. Okay, so you can surely go and uh, connect me over here. My email ID is there, my phone number is there. You can always come on over there. That's the same number is my WhatsApp. You can connect me over LinkedIn. Same it across all the platform. It's Vivek Viraj 2003, and you'll find me on. Thank you everyone for your support, being staying there for a long, and have a nice day.